Good evening, everyone. Thank you for that. Today is November 21st, 2023. It is 6 o'clock p.m. as of now. We are at 100 Polk Avenue here in Cape Canaveral, Florida at City Hall for our regular City Council meeting. I call this meeting to order. This time, Mayor Pro Tem Raymond, would you please lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Davis?
Here.
Councilmember Kellum?
Here.
Mayor Morrison?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Raymond?
Here.
Councilmember Willis?
Here. Thank you, and that was our outgoing roll call for this council that sits here today with Councilmember Kellum, who is joining us home today, live stream. This time, we want to go ahead and handle the presentation for our Mayor Pro Tem Angela Raymond. I'd like to give a council an opportunity to say a few words if we choose to do so. And then we'll go down and we have a gift from this city down on the floor we'd like to present to you. And last but not least, you certainly can have your final time to make any remarks or statements. So,
Excuse me, am I limited to 3 minutes?
as of now, I will exercise my full power and say no. So thank you. So, council members, no particular order. Council member Willis? Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Raymond, you've certainly impressed me with the importance of calling you Mayor Pro Tem, so I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you for your years of service and dedication to our city. Thank you for promoting Cape Canaveral in the Florida League of Cities and for all of your hard work on behalf of the city. And I'm sure that you will continue to be involved with the city and the issues that come before this city council. But you stole my thunder. I was going to remind you that you will only get 3 minutes, though. But thank you for all you've done. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you for your kind words.
Thank you. Councilmember Kellum?
Yes. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Angela, for all your hard work you've done for the city and your dedication to the Florida League of Cities and home rule, which is important to our city. Thank you for all you've done, and I wish you the best of luck moving forward.
Thank you, Mickey. I hope that you get well soon. I know what you're going through.
Thank you. Councilmember Davis?
Well, Angela, there are no words. You're going to make me cry. You have taught me so much about this, how to be a council member, and you have done so much for this city. And I respect you, and I appreciate it. So I'm just going to leave it at that. And I wish you well after council.
Thank you.
And yes, I'll go and
Hi.
say there hasn't been a day on this council since I've been elected in 2017 where I have not served with Mayor Pro Tem Raymond. So, through it all, it's been a pursuit to have a better city. And I'm very thankful for the opportunity to serve and have a lot of respect for anyone who puts themselves out there to go and try and make Cape Canaveral better. And, did some cool things. You got a chance to, the Poet Laureate program that I think was really cool, and then you would share poems from time to time, and I appreciate your creativity, and thank you for your service.
Thank you, Mayor. It's been interesting.
Well, with that, I do have one final word. I prepared a poem for you. So I figured,
You're stealing
Through
my
the-
thunder now.
yes. And so, well, you'll get the final word, but not much of a poem writer, but I'll give it a shot. Roses are red, violets are blue. On your last day at service, here is a poem for you. In Cape Canaveral, where the sun and seas play, a tale of public service unfolds in the lighted day. A steadfast presence in the city's daily race, Angela's commitment for a better place. Thank you.
I just have to ask, did you write that by yourself or did Christina's hand?
She may have helped.
Oh, I think so. Thank you, Christina. Thank you, Wes.
Thank you. Todd, any final words, City Manager?
No, it's been a pleasure serving with you, Angela. I know this entire council joins me in the audience as well. We all thank you for your service. Thank you.
Thank you for your kind words.
So with that, I'd like to go down front and present you with a gift from the city and give you the final word. Thank you. On behalf of the citizens of Cape Canaveral, I want to present you with this gift.
Beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Do I need to speak from the podium? Please. Okay, thank you. I have to look at the council. This is the way that we do it. Can everybody hear me? Excuse me, at home, I'm hoping that you could hear me. I was told to speak directly into the mic by one of my mentors. These 6 years have been mostly a positive experience in my life. I think of the Dr. Seuss book, The Places You Will Go, and where I have already been. The biggest challenge has been how to figure out a vacation between the third Tuesday of each month for council meetings to the second Monday of the month for Space Coast League of Cities, which I served on for the 6 years. Sometimes you get 18 days, other times up to 28, which often worked for me, especially if I was taking a long cruise, such as the one I took last year to Australia and New Zealand. Although there were a few times meeting from Bali was different, and meeting at 2 a.m., going through the locks along the Rhine in Germany, that one was probably the most difficult, and I had to unplug. Anyway, this is one of the things about serving lots and lots and lots of meetings. Council meetings, special meetings, budget meetings, emergency meetings, strategic planning meetings, auditors meetings, workshops. We had 3 for the Civic Hub. Space Coast League of Cities meetings, and also the committees, Governance and Scholarship Committee, Florida League of Cities, Transportation and Intergovernmental Affairs. This year, Land Use and Economic Development. It seems like there's just an endless meeting after meeting. Hurricanes, the pandemic. Oh, the pandemic was very interesting. We learned how to have meetings with Zoom, and I'm still having difficulty getting on Zoom meetings. Today I had a terrible time, and the woman that called the meeting didn't show up. So after 20 minutes, we realized that we had to cancel that. That was the governance meeting for Space Coast League of Cities. I said, well, where is Julie? And then, oh, I remember, she got married in July, so I guess she has newlywed brain. Anyway, that was very interesting. But I was there. I was there for the first 20 minutes. But I said, this is it. This is the last day I'm doing this because I'm not an elected official anymore. So I don't have to come to another meeting. But they said, but we want you to. I said, oh, no, thank you. But if you want me to, I will look at the governance and bylaws for Space Coast League of Cities. I enjoy that, actually. And I've really enjoyed serving our city. The pandemic was interesting, as I have to go back to that. Not only did we learn how to have meetings with masks on, we had to learn how to use plexiglass here on the dais. And that was really challenging, especially when it fell down if you hit your elbow the wrong way. But as I said, I really enjoyed serving our city. It's been a lot of work and a lot of fun. Relationships are probably the most important thing for a council member. They're important, they're significant relationships in order to succeed with other council members, with the city manager, the staff, other elected officials in our county and state, and most of all, our residents. I really believe in the importance of home rule, local voices, local choices. And I will continue. I've been asked to do some work with trying to get more residents involved in advocacy through everyday work. And I said that, yes, I would do that for the city of Cape Canaveral. Anyway, responsibility to all. This was a big, big task. Responsibility is important. Commitment to stick with it. Perseverance. Prayer and patience. Not my strong suit. I have been reflecting a lot this last month. Mayor Wes Morrison and I were elected in 2017. And in January 2018, we were part of the very first council to hold our meeting right here in these chambers in our new city hall. One of the first things I told Mayor Bob Hogue was that I would like to have a poet laureate for Cape Canaveral. He asked, "What's that?" I tried to explain Maya Angelou, and I explained who we had nationally. After trying to explain to no avail, I decided I needed to show him. So I wrote a poem about our new city hall and presented it after our meeting. In subsequent meetings, I wrote a sonnet, and then Molly Thomas suggested limericks, which we had a lot of fun with. And then Molly Thomas, who is now our Director of Culture and Leisure Services, took the ball and she contacted Florida, the Florida League of Cities, the Florida program for poet laureates. And we finally got our poet laureate. We had a search and we had applications open to all residents. And Tim Bass is our poet laureate. He lives over in Harbor Heights. And he has written poems when we opened the mural, our favorite mural of the astronaut, and different murals that we've had. He wrote a poem when we opened up and did the ribbon cutting for the C5, our community center. And I had the honor of reading that poem that Tim wrote. He's written several. He's written several poems about Cape View School, about the playgrounds. He's terrific. He's a very talented young man, and he is going to continue because he became the poet laureate during the pandemic, so he will continue for another 3 years. And I understand that he's already written a poem for the opening of the Cape Center, so I'm very happy about that. And I wanted to say one other thing about this, but I can't remember. Oh, I know. We are the only city in Brevard County to have a poet laureate. And I have encouraged all of the 16 cities at Space Coast League of Cities to go ahead and try to get a poet laureate, because I know there are a lot of talented people out there, and none of them have picked up the ball and gone with it. So I'll keep encouraging them when I see them. Cape Canaveral has made a lot of changes, appearance-wise, with our new community center, Cape Center, and future renovated Veterans Park, which I see they are starting, and our Civic Hub, all of which I strongly supported. I feel it's been a renaissance for the city of Cape Canaveral after so many years. I think that I would like to see the city to keep moving forward. I'm very grateful to have had this opportunity. I have to give special thanks to my husband and my family for putting up with all of this. And happy Thanksgiving. Now, I have a couple more things, that's it, and then I'll be done. In the true spirit, I also did some writing. I have never written one before for our city manager, Todd Morley. So here goes. There once was a man named Todd. For CM, he got the nod. No drama and no facade. He's just doing a great job. Thank you for everything. And that's for Todd.
Thank you, Angela.
I have one more because there are so many people to thank. There's no way that any council member could succeed doing this without the staff support. So since I couldn't write one for every staff member, I wrote this for the staff. There once was a staff who tried not to laugh. They supported our city down to the nitty-gritty. Thank you all for everything. I couldn't have done anything without you, Angela Raymond. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we're going to go ahead and move forward with the council members' oath of office. And first, I'd like to call Kay Jackson to the front, please. And as Councilmember Jackson takes her seat, Councilmember Willis to the front, please.
I, Don Willis, do solemnly swear that I will support, support, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States of America and the state of Florida, and the charter and ordinances of the city of Cape Canaveral, Florida, and that I'm entitled to hold office in the city of Cape Canaveral, Florida, and that I will faithfully perform all of the duties of the office of city council of the city of Cape Canaveral, so help me God. Congratulations once again.
Congratulations to both of you, and if you'd each like to say a few words, please.
I would like to thank everyone that gave me support during this race. It was very interesting. This was my second attempt, and I really look forward to serving the citizens of Cape Canaveral. Please feel free to reach out to me at any time. I'm here to help you.
There's too many people to mention that I owe thanks to, but a couple of names I want to put out there is Jay Petty and his wife Patricia, Dre and Ken Perkins, Steve and Linda DeYoung, Ira Finkelstein, and Ellen Murphy, but most importantly, my wife Paula. Because you can't get here without that kind of support. Thank you for everything.
Thank you, and again, congratulations to both of you. And this is the new council. It is an honor to serve with all of you. Councilmember Kellum, are you still with us?
Yes, Mayor. Congratulations, Kay and Don. It's good to have you up on board.
Thank you. And with that, we'll go ahead and call the roll for the new council. City Clerk.
Councilmember Davis?
Here.
Councilmember Jackson?
Here.
Councilmember Kellum?
Here.
Mayor Morrison?
Here.
Councilmember Willis?
Here.
Excellent. So at this time, we're going to go ahead and let everyone get settled in, and once this council's ready, we'll move into the approval of the agenda as written or with amendments. If there's anything as far as order of the agenda, the numbered items that we would like to change, now is the time, or address any other issues, technical. We do have our consent agenda, which we can vote all together, but if there's any changing of the order, I did have a request, I think some of you might be aware of from the public. Ms. Visidomini and brought to my attention item number 9, and the request would be to move it up in the agenda to the first spot. I can share that out of several public comment cards. I haven't totaled them. They are exclusively related to number 9 other than 2 cards. And so if the council desires, this is a public hearing item. I would need to consult with the city attorney as well, make sure what would be the recommendation. Could we put it right after consent agenda or before?
Yeah, I would put it after consent, hear consent, and then you can go ahead and move that up for public hearing.
Okay, so this is item number 9, and it would, consent agenda item would essentially be the first item we would vote together, and that's items 1 through 7. And then this would essentially move to number 8. My concern with that would be if there are any items that are going to be pulled. I just had a question from the consent agenda. It would get moved. Is it possible that we moved it prior to consent, just to avoid that? Because I think they're...
You can move it. You can move it prior to consent as well.
Okay,
mean,
I just
it's
want to be
whatever the council's
respectful.
pleasure is on that. Normally, if consent is something that, the council feels like it can just dispense with quickly, then I would put it after. If you're going to pull items from consent, and you want to address the ordinance first, then by all means.
Okay. So with that, that's the request. I would be okay with moving it to item number 1 before consent to be respectful to the folks here and the comment cards. It would be after public participation. I would ask that those who did fill out public comment cards to try and work together and consolidate as much as possible. But I'll pause there, council. That's one request. If there's any others, please let me know. Otherwise, we can consider that one. Any changes? Would we be okay?
I think it
take
would
that
be,
as
I
item
think it
number
would be
1?
fine. Yes.
Okay, thank you. So, yes. Yes, any opposed to that? Councilmember Kellum, if you don't mind confirming moving item number.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that, Mayor.
Okay, great. So we'll move item number 9 to number 1. Thank you for your help, City Attorney and Council, which will shift all the other ones down, but we'll maintain their numbers, I think, moving through. And no vote taken. City Clerk is okay with the consensus? Good deal. All right, so with that, we will now go past the approval of agenda as written, with the amendments we discussed, and the election of the Mayor Pro Tem is the next item. Cities, we okay?
Yes, last time we did it was by ballots. If you're comfortable with that method, we can do it again tonight, or we could just do the verbal nominations. It's up to the council's pleasure.
My ballot's fine.
I'm fine with the ballot process
ballot's
if anyone
fine.
has concern.
And Councilmember Kellum, since she's not here, she asked me to be her proxy. She told me the name she wanted me to check on her form, so I'll be checking that and handing it in. So I'll hand these down to the council. You can indicate your choice on there, pass them all down to the city attorney. I'll pass Mickey's to the city attorney, and he'll count and read the totals.
Okay, thank you. And if council members, anyone would like to say anything, that I think is totally okay. My comments on this is that I think anyone who's elected has obviously the support of the people. In the event that I could not serve in Mayor Pro Tem, that person who would fill that void, fortunately, I've been blessed to not miss any regular council meetings and be here, but that is an important decision. Councilmember Kellum, if that's something that you are interested in, I think I would support, and I want to put that out there to the council openly. And with that, again, any of us, I'm thankful to be able to serve with you, but I wanted to share that I believe served with you the longest at this point, and you've done a very good job of listening to the people, and I believe would do a good job as Mayor Pro Tem. And you have in the past when you served then.
Thank you, Mayor. I would be honored to be Mayor Pro Tem. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and if,
Something?
absolutely.
I would like to say John Willis for Mayor Pro Tem. My understanding, we rotate the position of Mayor Pro Tem, and he has not had it yet. He's been really involved with council and different aspects with transportation and stuff like that, and I think he would do a good job.
Any other comments? Thank you, Councilmember Davis. Excellent. Okay. Councilmember Kellum, your vote has been submitted already.
Yes, Mayor.
Okay, with that, City Manager, just pass them down? Please. Okay.
You want to announce how you vote? Mr. Mayor, we have 3 votes for Ms. Kellum.
Does that satisfy the majority criteria?
That's a majority criteria, and, a motion, and we usually take a motion and a second, and a vote on that would be in order. Thank you.
Yes, and I do want to thank city staff for putting together a process that seems simple, but this in the past has been a little clunky, and I think it's went smooth. Councilmember Callum, one of the things that they recommended was to confirm that you are willing to accept the position. I know you said you would prior, but now that the vote's been taken, I just want to confirm.
Yes, sir. I would be honored to be Mayor Pro Tem. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, with that, I'll be looking for a motion to appoint.
I'll make a motion to appoint Councilmember Kellum as Mayor Pro Tem.
I'll second the motion. Any other discussion? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move forward. City Clerk?
Councilmember Davis?
4.
Councilmember Jackson?
4.
Councilmember Kellum?
4.
Mayor Morrison?
4.
Councilmember Willis?
4.
Okay. Motion passes 5-0. Congratulations, Mayor Pro Tem Kellum.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for your approving this. And I will be honored and do the best job I can. Thank you.
Thank you. So now we're at the public participation portion of the meeting. Yes, thank you. I've got several comment cards here. The majority of them are number 9. I do want to recognize the 2 that did not have any numbers are related to agenda item number 9, which now has been moved to item number 1, if I haven't confused you already. The 2, Mr. Ray Zawacki. Ray, are you here? It looks like this item, did you want to make a general public comment, or was it related to one of our agenda items that you want to wait and speak on when we take that item up?
Just the general public, please.
Please come forward. Thank you. If you don't mind, state your name and address into the...
My name is Raymond Zawacki, and I am a resident over at Portside Villas, which is right on the border of the port. And I want to express my gratitude to the board, to the council, and to the mayor, and to anybody who was involved with this for the opportunity to say what I'm going to say. When my wife and I moved here back in 2015, we were told that our community was right next to the port and that it was a really great place to be. Well, since we've been here, the port has either sold, rented out, leased out, or whatever, all kinds of industry, which has made our stay in the port quite difficult in a sense. We have mounds and mounds and mounds of dirt and trucks going in and out. It is incredible. And what I'm asking the council to do, or the whoever it is that controls that, to investigate if there is any codes that are being broken by the port and having industrial nuisances such as they have so close to a residential community. So basically that's what I'm asking. I don't know if it needs to be an agenda item or what, but I would like if somebody could let me know what happens as a result. I'm asking for an investigation of that, and I'm asking if we can be informed as to the board over at Portside Villas. So do you have any questions?
No, sir, I do not. Thank you for your comment. You do have a little bit more time here if you have anything else you'd want to say.
I think I've said it all. Thank you.
Thank you. Your voice is heard. I'll meet with the city manager and encourage you to please take my contact information or any of these council members and follow up, but I think we have city staff can coordinate with you.
Approaching him now.
Mr. Dickey in the back is somebody who might be able to address some of your needs immediately, if you willing and able.
I'll answer a lot of your questions tonight, but I'm happy to meet with you anytime.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah, Dave Dickey. Yes, great timing on that question, and it is an issue. We're aware of the, I'll call them unpermitted activities that's going on. As a matter of fact, we're working as requested by the property owners in there to amend the existing binding development agreement to allow for an expansion of uses. They're currently not allowed, and the code enforcement has got involved. As a result, they're asking to amend their binding development agreement. That will be taken, this will be brought to the council for your action, your consideration and action. But they are wanting to expand the area, subject to the binding development agreement, to expand further to the east that is currently allowed. So we're aware of the issues, we're working with the property owners, and that will be coming to the city council in the next few months. So in the interim, we'll be taking care of any illegal activities that are going on there as well. So,
Thank you, Dave.
yeah, but call me.
Thank you. I've got another card here and from Tamara Mubach, I believe. I hope I'm pronouncing that. There's two cards. Did you wish to speak about a separate issue with the two? Please come forward. Thank you.
So I moved here about 6 months ago, and I love it here. I attended my first city council meeting last month, and I have to tell you, I was pretty shocked and appalled at one of our speakers at the podium. And I appreciate that you want us to treat every individual with respect and dignity as far as trying to set that tone to shut that down, but it continued, and I felt great shame that I sat in my seat and didn't stand up and object immediately to it. So I just request that maybe you look at policies and procedures going forward about immediately removing someone from a meeting who's, clearly racist and anti-Semitic comments were just spewed all over the place, and I was just heartbroken over that. And I know that's not what we want in our city here. So just asking that maybe look at policies, procedures on that, even address racism on your card, because that's not there. It's just got to call it out. We got to shut it down or find a way to prevent people from returning back to the podium who do that. So that's just my recommendation, my thought, but thanks for that time, and I love it here. You guys are doing a great job.
Thank you. Yes, Councilmember Willis? Yes, Ms. Tamara Mubach, am I saying that correctly?
It's Mulbach.
Mulbach.
Yes, you can call me Tam.
Thanks, Tam. Okay. Dr. Shannon Roberts. And that's the last specific related item to number 9.
Thank you so much. I wanted to echo the Portside Villas comment, if I may, for Solana Shores, because we also have the dirt and so forth that's coming from the emissions at the port. So I appreciate the fact that that was raised, and we would probably join in of concern for that. But I wanted to congratulate the new council members and also Mr. Willis for being reelected, but we really appreciate your running and offering your services to the city. And along that line, I just wanted to acknowledge that the Space Coast League of Cities, as you probably know, had a council candidates forum on November the 4th. And I wanted to express our appreciation to the city staff, the city librarian staff, and the Sheriff's Precinct for their support of that event. And you all did a great job, all the candidates did, and we were very honored by your offering yourselves for the service that you're now embarking upon, and appreciate, the fact that you all participated in that as well as the community. I did want to acknowledge that Cape Canaveral was an example of the candidates forum that will serve as a great precedent for what the League of Women Voters of the Space Coast will be offering to other municipalities in 2024. So the League appreciates the opportunity to sort of use this as an example of what we will learn from and put forward into the 2024 election cycle. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And for those of you who are live streaming, listening at home, if you'd like public comment, as always, please just raise your hand. I will recognize, unmute you, and allow you the same 3 minutes. I don't see any hands raised. And with that, I will double check. Seeing none, I want to make sure from the audience, I do have a lot of cards. If anyone intended to speak on any item other than item number 9 and you have not been called, please come forward or raise your hand. Seeing none, now that we've moved item number 9, a public hearing item, to 1, these items would be taken up during the public hearing item, so we can go ahead and potentially close public comment depending on this. For number 9 as well. So seeing no other hands raised, we'll go ahead and close public comment, public participation, which moves on to item number 9, which we've moved to, up to the top spot. This item here, get everyone getting to their agenda. Item number 9 is ordinance number 12/2023. Our city attorney.
Okay, ordinance 12-2023, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Cape Canaveral, Florida, amending Chapter 110 zoning, Article 9 supplemental district regulations, Division 2 off-street parking related to minimum parking requirements for restaurant and bars, providing the repeal of prior inconsistent ordinances and resolution, incorporation into the code, severability, and an effective date. This is first reading of this ordinance. This ordinance this concept and ordinance was presented to the Planning and Zoning Board. They considered it and made a recommendation to the City Council for approval. It's pretty straightforward in that the concept would be to exclude restaurants and bars from the minimum requirements in the city code related to off-street parking. In other words, there would not be any minimum number of off-street parking spaces required for restaurant and bars if this were to pass. However, the property would still have to comply with, when necessary, site plan approval process and other provisions of the code. So that's just a general summary of this ordinance. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, City Attorney. What I want to do is, if there are any technical questions that this council has for city staff, we can ask those now, but as soon as possible, I want to get to public comment. And then we'll bring it back to the council after we hear public comment, like we've done, and discuss it. But if there's any things that we need to ask now that would maybe benefit everyone hearing on technical questions in no particular order, please let me know. Councilmember or Mayor Pro Tem Kellum.
Yes, I do have a question for Anthony on the ordinance. It says, bars and restaurants, and this ordinance would not apply to clubs. My question is, in our city, we have the American Legion and the VFW, which both are a club, but they also are a bar and restaurant. So they would be exempt from the parking rule as well?
Well, I think we'd look to David for that one, but I don't think that issue was discussed at the Planning and Zoning Board. Where's David?
He's here.
Oh,
The council could amend this draft ordinance to
sure.
include clubs.
sure, but I think clubs and lodges are intended to be treated separately under the minimum parking, off-street parking requirements as the code currently is stated today. And the discussion, again, focused on restaurants and bars. So, Dave, I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
No, I would agree with that. I think since they are specifically listed as unique uses in our zoning different categories, then I would think they would be a kind of a standalone category from bars and restaurants, and I would recommend that the bar and restaurant uses are really only to be considered this evening. We didn't discuss clubs or lodges with the Planning and Zoning Board at all, so that would be opening up the exemption to different uses than have not been considered to date.
Thank you. I just, not so much the VFW, but the American Legion, that could be a hardship for them. Maybe it's something that needs to go back to the planning and zoning, that section of this ordinance. Thank you for the information.
Thank you. Any other questions, council?
This is for Mr. Dickey. Wouldn't that be better handled as a separate issue?
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, it all depends on how the council wants to deal with this evening. If you take action this evening on the recommendation, then obviously we would have to handle it in a separate ordinance or in a separate fashion. If the council wants to continue the case and open up what we're considering under this ordinance, we can certainly do that. It would just be whatever the council's will is.
But it wouldn't push back the process any?
Well, that would if the council decided to continue it and expand the scope of the exemptions, then obviously we would be delaying an action on the bars and restaurants item for at least 2 months.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem.
I don't think that we should delay it. The restaurants have waited long enough for us to make a decision on this. So if we could maybe bring it back as a separate issue down the road, I don't think we should delay this decision any longer for the businesses in the city. That caught my eye, and being a member of both those places, I was like, is this going to affect them? So I think if we brought it back as a separate issue, it would be better. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments, council, or questions for staff before we go public? Seeing none, I've got a stack of public comment cards here. I didn't have any questions either. First one is Andrea Paz-Bolton. If you'd like to come up and speak during this time. This is an ordinance that we're adopting as written, as our city attorney said, adding section 110-498 and making some amendments to 110-491. It's small in change, big in impact, and if you are in support as written of the ordinance, since we have so many, that's an efficient way to help us and valued by us on what your opinion is. So if you'd like to waive in support or oppose, that is another helpful way to help us understand. But I welcome, we have 3 minutes, spend as much time as we want. Andrea, I take that you are waiving in support. Okay, thank you. Ms. Susan Denny. Hi, Ms. Denny.
Good evening. I'm Susan Denny. I live at 236 Coral Drive. I'm also part of the Planning and Zoning Board, which unanimously suggested that you adopt this ordinance. We did a lot of research. There's countrywide. People are going to eliminating minimums. Back in July, I identified some properties that still don't meet it. It's not just an Ellie Mae's issue. There's a strongtowns.org. They have maps of the whole country where everybody's going to this. Parkingreform.org. There's 1,400 cities on that map. In Florida, there's 10 that they eliminated the minimums for the city center district, and then Gainesville actually eliminated it citywide. Fayetteville has eliminated minimum parking since 2015, and they've established a lot new businesses in the area. And then to me, one of the best comparison is Sandpoint, Idaho. It's a resort town, less than 10,000 residents, kind of similar to us, that swells with visitors who come for its lake beach and nearby skiing. They did away with the parking minimums in downtown in 2009, and 9 years later, it reduced the minimums citywide. So it is a proven win-win situation throughout the United States as well as in Florida. So as the Planning and Zoning Board has recommended before, I recommend that you approve the ordinance as written.
Thank you, Ms. Denny, and thank you for your service. Patricia Lowry. Thank you, Ms. Lowry, waving in support. Derek Bernard. Thank you, Mr. Bernard. William Davidson. Thank you. Janet Bernard. Thank you, Ms. Bernard. Celeste Anderson. Waving in support. Thank you, Ms. Anderson. Alyssa Rodriguez. Just here, not speaking. This, I'll read this card. It says, I am not speaking. I am here just to support of small businesses for item number 9. I'll set that one to the side if council wants to pass that down and see that as her written comments. Beth Elliott. Elliott waving in support. Thank you. Mark Elliott. Mr. Elliott waving in support. Thank you. Wayne Freed. Mr. Freed waving in support. Thank you. Jeff Bramlett. Thank you, Mr. Bramlett waving in support. Ms. Peg Schaller.
It's pretty impressive because I haven't said anything yet. But I just want to thank council, and in particular, I want to thank the Planning and Zoning Board for doing as much work as they did on this. I'm super excited about the city of Cape Canaveral because this ordinance helps launch our city into the ability to catch up to the celebrations and the other areas in Florida that have already adopted this. And what this will do is not only allow my small business to stay functioning, but it will also encourage other businesses to come to our city. And research has shown, studies have shown, the more parking that is required, not only for restaurants and bars, but for every business, the further apart those businesses must get pushed because they have to have parking spaces. The further apart the buildings are pushed, the less walkable and bikeable your city becomes. So it is an area, repealing this minimums is a 3-part situation. 1, it's great for business. It's great for the city of Cape Canaveral. 2, it's great for the stormwater which is already overtaxed right now, because then you're not adding more asphalt to the ground. And number three, you leave some of that for housing, which is desperately needed here. So I'm super excited about the city of Cape Canaveral taking this major step, and I'm excited to see what else can come from it. Thank you.
Tam, your card came up again, waving in support.
She is my sister.
Vicky Freed. Vicky Freed waving in support. Thank you. Dion Reimer. Mr. Reimer waving in support. Judith McCarthy. Thank you, Ms. McCarthy, waving in support. David McCarthy. The hand waving in support. Thank you, Mr. McCarthy. Connie Reimer. Thank you, Ms. Reimer, waving in support. Marianne Plashino. Thank you, Ms. Plashino, waving in support. Eric Plashino. Yes. Hi, Eric.
Good evening. Eric Plakino, 425 Pierce Avenue. And I'm going to echo a lot, or some of what Peg said already. And my wife and I moved here from Orlando in 2010 to kind of get to a little more manageable environment for biking and walking and getting around to establishments, local establishments. So establishments like PEG provide that opportunity. Also, the other thing, we're both retired marine biologists. I did it for 36 years with various consulting firms and regulatory agencies. And one of the biggest kind of discoveries was that one of the largest sources of pollution to areas like the lagoon and other surface water bodies in Orlando lakes and streams is what they call non-point source pollution, which is basically runoff from urbanized areas. Excuse me. So while I'm sitting there thinking about what I was going to say, I noticed that item number 4 is the city is getting ready to approve a quote from Tetra Tech. They're a large consulting firm for almost $100,000 to complete a stormwater management infrastructure mapping project. So again, kind of echoing what Peg said, if new businesses are going to be, and existing businesses are going to be encouraged or even forced to kind of add to the stormwater runoff volume, it could be counterproductive to the city's efforts to control that. So as a marine biologist, and speaking for my wife as well, we talked about it, we truly support the adopting this rule. Thank you.
Thank you. Amy Murrow. Thank you, Amy, waving in support. Ryan Murrow. Thank you, Ryan, waving in support. Sanford Berg. I'm here. Thank you. Sanford waving in support. Carol Berg.
Hi, my name is Carol Berg. I live on Fillmore Avenue, and I have lots of friends here from Fillmore Avenue. And we chose to have a second home here in Cape Canaveral. We live at Ocean Park, and we love the community. We have loved it for 18 years. We've loved the improvements, you know, the bike paths, the safe community, the community center, pickleball, my favorite. And now, it was, when Ellie Mae's opened, it was a place for the community to gather. And I think in every community you need a place to gather whether it's the library or the pickleball court. And LA Maze is a family-friendly environment, and many of us enjoy walking and biking there. And I think it's a big part of our community and why it's as special as it is. Thank you. And of course, I support.
Thank you. Joan Giles?
I wave in support.
Thank you, Joan Giles, waving in support. I am repeating this because they are not speaking into the record, and so I just want to make sure it's at least captured, especially for those who might be listening from home. Lee Visadomini?
Lee Visadomini, I've been here since 1989. I think that we have been running on a bikeable, walkable city. We're 1.9 square miles. We need places for us to go. The establishments that don't have adequate parking allow us to go there, walk there, and walk home. I understand we also have another process from our city that we're trying to get some kind of cars that aren't, I don't know what the word is, that they aren't going to be powered by people, but they're just going to come in and you can go in and get out of the car. And I don't know what that's called, but
Self-driving.
Autonomous.
thank you. And that also will enable us to get around the city more easily. I'm 73 years old. I frequent many of the local places. I'm sad to say, as chaplain of the American Legion, that the American Legion, and I'm also a member of the VFW and a Gold Star family, that you did not include this in this proposal, but I encourage you to support this so you do not leave out the people that fought for our freedoms so they could come and be part of this, so we don't need, if we don't meet the adequate parking spaces, that they aren't penalized. We're in between multiple military bases. We need to make sure that the Veterans Organization also comes under this umbrella. Whether you want to do this as an amendment, that doesn't take forever. If you want to do this as an amendment, or if you wish to move it forward as a separate agenda, of course, my voice will be heard. We have to make everything equitable. If it's equitable for our community center not to have enough parking, or our city hall to be on A1A, then everybody has to follow the same standards. You, and when I say you, our city is setting the standards. So if we're saying whatever that parking space is over at the community center can house the people that go there, and Little League and everything else, we have to really address, we are a walkable, bikeable city. I support this. I think it's important, but I also think you need to include the Veterans Organization into this program. I don't think you have to do it today, but I would like it addressed as soon as possible.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Daniel Sharp?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Members. My name is Daniel Sharp. I live at 336 Harbor Drive, and I'm also a member of the Planning and Zoning Advisory Board. I was in support of this ordinance, and you've seen or heard a lot of the details about this, and I think those are strong items. I'd like to speak from the point of view that's a little bit larger. You said it's a small issue with big impact, and that's true. But it's even grander than the impact of the city from the existing situation. This is a situation where, depending on how you guys vote this, it's either slamming the door on future growth and developers' opinions of this city or not. It's a small issue, but with the mixed use and all the other things that have been talked about that you guys are really looking forward to, things like this, and I come from the 35 years of the development background, it's gonna tell everyone out there, go to the port, go to Cocoa Beach, we're shutting the door. Because these types of businesses are the ones that get into the retail, get into the mixed use, start the enthusiasm for the social structure behind the growth. I just want to bring it up from that larger point of view. You need to understand that this type of issue has much greater impact than just what we're talking about. If we want to grow and not just sit back, old guard, doing what we've been doing, this is the type of thing you need to allow. I'm all for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sharp. Chris Meredith, I believe, Meldith? Thank you, Chris, waving in support. And I believe that's all the cards I have. If I overlooked or if I did not recognize you, please raise your hand, let me know. Okay, seeing none. And it looks like I might have a technical issue over here that you could have logged out. I didn't see any way. I just looked there recently. No one had their hand raised for those who were live streaming, but Councilmember or Mayor Pro Tem Kellum, are you still with us? So with that, looks like we might need to take a look at into a few things and confirm maybe via text or another method to make sure that she's still with us. We need to, I didn't see any hands raised, just to make sure we're closed on that. None online. Of course, if there are some, when we come back, we can handle that. But for now, I think we go ahead and close the public comment, bring it back to this council. Council, I think it would be beneficial before we get into it to take a brief 5-minute, maybe 10-minute break, let these issues get resolved, and citizens will get back to this and try to get this moved forward, working with staff as quickly as possible. So if council, no one opposes, could we take, just say 10 minutes, come back at 7:17, 7:20 range? Great, thank you. So we'll take a 10-minute recess. Thank you. Just logged out. just checking in. Mayor Pro Tem Kellum, can we hear you? Okay. Any? Okay. As far as procedure, the same as a council member, just no issue. Keep calling the roll. Okay. Well, give it another 30 seconds, see if we can get connected to Mayor Pro Tem Kellum, and we'll pick up on item number 9. Okay. Let's give that a... Okay. Yes, I... Okay. We'll go ahead and call the meeting back to order. It's 7:23 p.m. We are at our regular city council meeting here, Cape Canaveral, Florida City Hall. 7:23 p.m. We are on item number 9, which we moved to the front. We just closed public comment. It's back to the council. And council, any discussion or questions? I got a few comments while we're trying to get connected. I take that Mayor Pro Tem Kellum can hear us. We have confirmed that. That's excellent. Okay. Well, knowing that, it really only becomes an issue when she needs to speak. So we will make sure to do our best to connect. Thank you for your help. All right. So, council, if I can go first, unless somebody else has something they want to say. My comments are, I am excited about this beyond how it would, I think, positively impact Ellie Mae's and any other restaurant bar. This is something, I think, go back to 2018, that from an environmental standpoint alone, the runoff that we heard in some of the public comments really was looking at a citywide approach. And I do appreciate the Strong Towns movement, and I appreciate our city staff who has went in and started to move towards green parking, started to relax and create opportunities to change stormwater runoff from that alone. But what we talked about today, and I think what has been impacted, is the economic development opportunities that this can provide. Ellie Mae's is a visionary business that came into kind of the poster. If you go back to the 2009 visionings at Cape Canaveral, citizens would go and put stickers up on the wall and identify businesses that needed, they thought were blight or needed some TLC and love. And I guess a few years later, I guess about a decade later, it transformed with Scott and Peg coming in and everything that's grown in today through the setbacks, through the challenges, the timing of COVID, the shutdowns, probably the worst time to open a business. And the city has worked to try and create ways we voted historically giving some, to put a stay on the existing code today. And today we have an opportunity to do something I hope we do. I think this is the step in the right direction. I would say one comment before any motions or anything we get into would be, we will have 2 readings of this. And this is the first of this, one of 2, I would imagine, if all things go as planned. More than likely, it'll come back in December for a second and final reading. the concern that Mayor Pro Tem Kellum brought up about clubs, and the input we heard in regards that P and Z really didn't address that. Because we have two readings, my thought was tonight, if we requested any clubs that wanted to be added into this, or all clubs, to me, VFW, American Legion, the Union, but I certainly can't say that's an exclusive or the entire list of clubs, but maybe between now and the second reading, if we could have a look at how many clubs that would impact. And if P and Z was meeting prior to our next regular meeting, that would be ideal, but that may not work out. So my question would be, does P and Z have a meeting before our December meeting to take up the consideration of clubs?
Yeah, we don't have one scheduled, but I think if it's important to the council to get some thoughts on that from the P and Z, we can certainly reach out and see if we can get a quorum.
I don't think we have a pending application right now for a club that wants to expand, so I don't think there's somebody who's going to be penalized by if the P and Z doesn't get together for a month. We know this is something we don't want to look into.
Yes, instead of going through and coming back when we said it's a separate issue, it would be okay if we amended this tonight and then brought it back in a second reading without P and Z.
Mayor, may I ask the city attorney just a quick question?
Absolutely.
I know that the heading of the ordinance, Anthony, would probably have to get modified if we're going to expand the scope of the ordinance. Is that going to affect anything?
The city has to advertise for second and final reading in the newspaper 10 days prior to adoption. So currently, the ordinance is written as recommended. It's limited to restaurants and bars. So to the extent that you wanted to open it up to more uses, then the title would need to be changed before it's advertised. Because the current title says off-street parking related to minimum parking requirements for restaurants and bars. If you want to leave open the possibility of making additional amendments, then we would have to take restaurants and bars out of the title before it's advertised.
Okay, so if tonight we decided to amend the language and add in to the new section 110-498, I'm on page 3 of 4 of the proposed ordinance. The underlined addition, that title could we change tonight and say restaurant, bars, and clubs, or whatever made sense, and then the specific language, line 8, add in clubs, and line 9 it looks like as well. And then we would need to reschedule a P&Z board meeting, change the advertisement, and could we do all that and bring it back on the second and final reading? And
I'm looking at the calendar right now. I mean,
Before you answer, if the council is inclined to include clubs and lodges into this ordinance, it does not necessarily need to go back to the Planning and Zoning Board. The council can do that on its own direction. So if you wanted to do that this evening, then we have to address clubs and lodges in the title of the ordinance. Then on line 38 of the of page 2, I'm sorry, I'm getting feedback. It's where it says the list of uses: auditoriums, theaters, clubs, and lodges. We would strike clubs and lodges on line 38, and then, as you indicated, Mayor, go into line 5 on page 3 of 4. That's where we would include clubs and lodges, along with restaurants and bars. And that's all that would be needed to amend the ordinance to include clubs and lodges.
I was not, clubs is separate than lodges. I was saying just clubs. I mean, the VFW and American Legion are, I think, good examples. It doesn't have to go back to P and Z, but I would feel more comfortable at the second reading knowing how many clubs are in the city. And I have not thought about lodges and/or I was addressing, I think, Mayor Pro Tem's comments as well. So it just would change, don't strike lodges in line 38. Unless there's a concern with that,
Yeah, I was lumping them together because under the C1, C2 zoning district, it states clubs and lodges as a use. They're kind of lumped together, so I was
okay.
treating them that way. But it's whatever the council wants to do. We might have to wordsmith it a little bit more.
I don't want to delay. I do carry that. I think moving forward as written is fine, but I didn't want to come back and add one word and do, essentially 4 meetings to pass for one extra word. That it sounds like we could certainly amend tonight. Maybe some issues with separating clubs and lodges that have to work through. But between now and the second meeting, perhaps we'll know a little bit more.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
certainly can do the analysis on that. The question is whether or not you want to amend the title to leave open the possibility of making an amendment at second reading, because the title is going to be advertised limited to restaurants and bars. So you're going to be tied into restaurant and bars if you wanted to take adopt it on second and final reading, because the ordinance title is very specific. There's not a lot of leeway to add to the ordinance at that point, once it's advertised.
But we could reissue a new ad.
Certainly. Oh, yeah, certainly.
Add
I'm
some
just
extra
trying, absolutely. The council can do another ad, can do another ordinance. It's up to whatever the council, wants to do. I was just looking at it just linear. If you wanted to take action on this ordinance at your next meeting, right now it's limited to restaurants and bars. If you are inclined to make some adjustments before you adopt it on second reading, then we need to adjust the title of the ordinance to be more broader. So you have that leeway at second reading, and you're not limited to restaurants and bars.
Thank you. Council, that was my comments. I support this. I think adding clubs in, sounds like we have some guidance on how to do that. Thank you all, and there's probably some more
Mayor?
comments. Yes, City Manager?
We believe there was a system reset. Could you ask Mayor Pro Tem to speak?
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
I was waiting for that.
Yay!
We hear you. Okay. Success. Glad to have
Okay.
you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I would like to ask Anthony. I got feedback, but anyway. The American Legion and the VFW, it is it's a club, but it's a club with a cantina and they serve food. I mean, if we don't absolutely have to take lodges out, could we word it where it would be like a club that serves alcohol and food, or would that just be adding more than we need?
My suggestion, Mayor, is to include lodges and clubs in the amended ordinance title, and then we'll do a little research between now and second reading for the council, and we'll share that with you. But my understanding is we need to include both of those terms if the council has any inkling of including it at second reading. I believe, Anthony, we can always contract back on that. We can maybe choose lodges or clubs, but we just need to make sure they're both in there. If the council wishes to remove one of them at second reading, that's your prerogative. But we just need to make sure they're both in there on this corrective notice.
but we can come out of it without allowing lodges, which
Yes.
would be something I definitely want to talk.
Yes,
further.
that,
Okay.
I
But for
believe.
tonight, courageously go forward with lodges in the title
With clubs and
No
lodges in the
intentions?
title.
Yeah.
And if the council at second reading decides to remove one of those, you have the ability to do that. But if they're not in there for the new notice, then we're out of luck, so.
Another suggestion, not to even broaden it even more, maybe just a simple thing to do is just to change the title to, it says related to minimum parking requirements for uses including but not limited to restaurant and bars. And then you can do some more research and present it to the council.
Yeah.
About that.
As long as this does not, in the event that these changes result in us having to delay the December meeting, I would say I don't want to do that. But yes, if that's a better path to help avoid having 4 readings of this to add in clubs or lodges or all, great. Council, I've said a lot. Thank y'all very much. I think we'll continue to work through this. Councilmember Willis?
Well, it seems like that would be the simplest solution, to subtract at that point without delaying anything. I mean, everybody has waited for this reading, and they're anticipating a second reading in December, and if we're doing anything that prevents that, it's not going to end well for us. So.
Councilmember Davis? Councilmember
Absolutely.
Jackson?
Add it, both clubs and lodges. We can strike it later. And we've gotten the information. And that way we're able to move forward without delay.
Thank you. City attorney and/or city staff, if there's a proposed wording for this to simplify it for you, we can listen and make a motion as you state it, which suits you best.
And do you want to just add clubs and lodges? Is that what I'm hearing?
Council?
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Then, several changes to this ordinance would be in order. The title would have to be changed to include requirements for restaurants and bars and clubs and lodges. That would be on line 7, page 1 of the ordinance. Then on line 38, page 2 of the ordinance, we would strike clubs, lodges, just like we did for restaurants, and then add language excluding restaurants and bars. Restaurants, bars, and clubs and lodges would be added to line 39 on the same page. And then, as you pointed out, Mayor, the proposed new section 110-498, which is beginning on line 5 of page 3 of the ordinance, would have a conforming amendment to include clubs and lodges along with restaurants and bars. And that would tee the ordinance up for public advertisement to include restaurants and bars and clubs and lodges. And then we'll take it back up in December and see what the council wants to do with clubs and lodges. If you want to proceed with those changes at adoption, you can do that, or you can strike them in December.
Okay.
Gives you the flexibility.
Thank you very much for going through that. That would be a very difficult motion to make, but council, as we heard here, did we hear any concerns? Happy to go through. The first one was the title to include restaurants, bars, clubs, and lodges on line 7, page 1. The second change is on line 38, page 2, sorry, which strikes clubs and lodges. And the next is on page, yes, 39, which is to add restaurants, bars, lodges, and restaurants to that. And on the same page, line 5, is that correct, City Attorney?
The following page.
Oh, I'm sorry, on the
Following page.
the following page, line 5.
And I would
Conf-
recommend a conforming amendment to include clubs and lodges to that section.
Thank you. Take your time. If you have a chance or any questions, I'll just look for support as you're ready.
I'll make a motion that we add clubs and lodges to the spaces that we discussed within the ordinance, and then bring it back with more information in December in order to not delay.
I'll second.
Okay, so the motion on the table. If there's any discussion on it as we're reading and still processing, thank you. Councilmember Willis, I know you were working through it as well. Any issues?
No, I think that gets us to the point where we can backtrack if we need to,
Yeah.
without delaying anything.
Okay. Councilmember Davis, I believe I heard you.
I'm fine.
Okay. So we got a motion by Councilmember Jackson and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Kellum. Over all the changes our city attorney and council worked through. City clerk, is there any clarity that you need?
Motion to approve
Yeah,
Okay.
a motion to approve as amended,
at first reading.
first reading. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's the motion on the table. Okay. Any further discussion? Seeing none, City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Davis?
4.
Councilmember Jackson?
4.
Mayor Pro Tem Kellum?
4.
Mayor Morrison?
4.
Councilmember Willis?
4.
Okay. Ordinance number 12, 2023 passes 5-0. Thank you, and thank you all. Thank you all for your time to come and speak on this issue, and thanks the entire council for getting through it. Thank you. Thank you all.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Okay, so council, that was item number 9, finished up.
Came 1.
As everyone sort of works their way out of the room, we'll move on to item number 1 from the top, 1 through, 7. So if there are any items 1 through 7, the consent agenda that we want to pull, now is the time to just pull them. Just simply let me know which number, and we'll make sure to pull it, and then we'll look for a motion to adopt the remaining or all of the consent agenda.
I'm fine.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Davis. I had a technical question out in the hall. Jeff and Tim were able to help me with that. Hearing none, Councilmember Kellum, I'd like to just confirm with you to make sure you're heard. Would you like to pull any items?
No, I'm good. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Looking for a motion?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Got a motion by Councilmember Willis, second by Councilmember Davis. Any further discussion? Seeing none, City Clerk?
Councilmember Davis?
4.
Councilmember Jackson?
4.
Mayor Pro Tem Kellum?
4.
Mayor Morrison?
4.
Councilmember Willis?
4.
All right, great job. Items 1 through 7 are done. Now we skip over, we now are at the public hearing, item number 8, ordinance number 11, 2023. Our city attorney, when he's ready, can help us read this ordinance.
Sure. Ordinance number 11-2023, an ordinance of the City of Cape Canaveral, Brevard County, Florida, adopting amendments to the annual general fund, special revenue funds, agency fund, capital project funds, enterprise funds, and enterprise capital fund budgets for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2022 and ending September 30, 2023, providing an effective date. This is second and final reading, also a public hearing item, and it's the annual reconciliation ordinance for the previous year's budget. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Council, just like the last one, any technical questions or anything that we need to discuss? I don't have any cards, public hearing, any more cards at all for this one, but we will go back out to the public in case anybody wants to speak. Any questions?
No.
Okay. Councilmember Kellum, or Mayor Pro Tem Kellum, any
No, I'm good. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. I'm good.
All right, this is ordinance number 11, 2023, ordinance number 11, 2023. It's a public hearing item. If anyone would like to speak, we'll open public hearing. For those of you who are listening at home, please raise your hand if you'd like to speak, and I'll make sure to unmute you. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close public hearing. Back to the council. We're ready for a motion.
I make a motion to.
I'll make a motion. Oh, go ahead.
To adopt
I'll
ordinance
second.
number 11, 2023.
Second.
Got a motion by Councilmember Willis. Got a second by Councilmember Davis to approve ordinance number 11, 2023. Any further discussion on that? Seeing none, City Clerk?
Councilmember Davis?
4.
Councilmember Jackson?
4.
Mayor Pro Tem Kellum?
4.
Mayor Morrison?
4.
Councilmember Willis?
4.
Okay. Ordinance number 11, 2023 passes 5-0. Skipping over item number 9, or not skipping, we took that up at the beginning. We're now at item number 10, items for action. First one, appoint a council member as the 2024 alternate delegate to the Space Coast Transportation Planning Organization Governing Board representing the North Beaches Coalition. This is one that we have a voice with our partners, Cocoa Beach. City Manager, any comments here?
No,
Or
sir.
City Clerk?
Other than Councilmember Willis has previously served on this, and he indicated to me that he still would be interested if the council so desired, unless that's changed in the last 24 hours, sir?
No,
Okay.
no.
And he's done a remarkable job there.
I'd like to make a motion that Councilmember Willis continue.
I'll second.
I'll second.
Got a motion by Councilmember Jackson, got a second by Councilmember Davis to appoint Councilmember Willis as the member of the 2024 alternate delegate to the Space Coast TPO. Any discussion, I just want to comment, I fully support it. We're very lucky to have you in that role. I had a chance to go speak at the regional or the TPO State of Transportation, and staff was very supportive and helpful with Lexi and Zach and David and Todd, and Councilmember Willis was there, and I got a chance to talk to some of the people, and everyone had very positive things to say, which made me smile, and just genuinely create value consistently on making A1A better and recognizing that as a top issue. So thank you again for being willing to serve. Even as an alternate, I know you'll be in there making sure Cocoa Beach is pulling for Cape Canaveral, the north side.
They need to know how to vote.
Yes. Well, No further comments, discussion? Seeing none, City Clerk?
Councilmember Davis?
4.
Councilmember Jackson?
4.
Mayor Pro Tem Kellum?
4.
Mayor Morrison?
4.
Councilmember Willis?
4.
Okay, motion passes 5-0. Thank you again, Councilmember Willis. Item number 11 is to appoint a voting delegate, director, and an alternate to the Space Coast League of Cities, our local league of cities here on Brevard, the Space Coast. They are, I mean, really, it can be a council member. Historically, I think we've usually always appointed a council member, but the reason director, the question city manager helped is in the event council member did not want or was not able to, I guess we could appoint.
Manager, city attorney, or director.
Okay. That's a new lesson. Thank you. Back here to the council. Anyone?
I'd like to nominate Kim Davis to be our delegate.
And this is.
I would like to nominate Kim Davis as well. She's been going to the meetings and doing a great job. I would like to nominate her as well.
Thank you, Mickey.
We're voting for 2 or 1?
We need to nominate an alternate as well.
Okay, I like the way we're doing it. So we're focused on the delegate right now. Councilmember Willis and Mayor Pro Tem Kellum have both recommended Councilmember Davis. I appreciate your willingness to serve. I assume you're willing to do this. Thank
I'm
you
fine.
very much. It
Thank
is
you.
very important, and I know that the league has been awesome in just supporting what's going on in Tallahassee. So, yes, thank you for serving. I fully support that as well. Any other comments?
Are we doing the
Looking for-
alternate now or just the delegate first?
I think we can do them together. If we want, we can discuss who the next one, the alternate would be, and then make one motion for each. And
I would like to suggest Councilmember Willis. He has been coming to the meetings and has gotten to know a lot of people and been working with them as well, so.
thank you. Nope. Councilmember Willis, is that something you'd want to do, be willing to do?
I'd be willing to do that, yes.
Any other comments? Mayor Pro Tem? Councilmember Jackson?
No, I think Don would be really good at that, in that position as well.
Okay.
I'm good with it.
Great, so I'd be looking for, I fully support both Councilmember Davis as the voting delegate director and the alternate being Councilmember Willis to the League of Cities. So just looking for a motion.
I make a motion that we appoint Kim Davis as the delegate and Don Willis as the alternate.
I'll second for myself.
Got a second by Mayor Pro Tem got a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Kellum. Got a second by Councilmember Davis. Any further discussion? Hearing none. City Clerk.
Councilmember Davis?
4.
Councilmember Jackson?
4.
Mayor Pro Tem Kellum?
4.
Mayor Morrison?
4.
Councilmember Willis?
4.
All right, item number 11, appointing the delegate and alternate to the Space Coast League of Cities, passes 5-0. Thank you both for stepping into that role as well. Item number 12, items for action, approved proposal from Centroid Diversified LLC in the amount of $588,818.05 for construction of the Center Street drainage improvements, and authorize the city manager to execute construction agreement for the same. City manager?
Yes, sir. This should be the final piece of the puzzle to get the Center Street pump done. Center Street Basin was, of course, a number one priority of this council after the July rains of 2021 quickly rose up to the top spot. and engineering studies were obtained. Several options were evaluated, and the city council opted to choose the pump, which is a drawdown method, to draw down water during a heavy rain and pump it, bypass it out into the lagoon with a tidal valve closing the end of the culvert to stop water from coming back in. The thinking there is that you create additional capacity for these large deluges of rain in the Center Street Basin. So this is the third, as I said, should be final piece. This is a $588,818 bid, and I think of that as the construction labor to install the pump and the tidal valve. Now, the pump was approved by City Council, owner direct purchasing, I believe it was last month, or maybe it was the month before. The tidal valve was done on this consent agenda, and I just want to go over the costs of all that so everybody understands where we are. This, if it's approved, $588,818 expenditure, plus the $76,431 for the tidal valve, plus the $177,685 for the pump, totals $842,931. The project was initially estimated to be a $900,000 project. $842,931. Of that, $467,500 is from a grant that will be repaid to the city via the Florida Department of Environmental Protection that we were approved for. That leaves a balance of $375,434, which will be covered by ARPA, which was one of the first identified tasks for ARPA funding when we got it, was to solve stormwater problems. So this is true to that initial mission with ARPA, and it's really hitting this problem head on, sir. We understand the pump wouldn't be available till at least April. The tidal valve may come in sooner than that. So the question I asked staff earlier was, how soon could we actually get started on this? I don't want to go into another wet season with this threat. We were lucky this year. The answer that I'm getting is that we could possibly start on doing a lot of things before the pump and the tidal valve get here. There's a lot of work to be done even before that. We could get it ready for the pump and the tidal valve in the months between here and there. So that's it for the project. As far as the bid, there were 4 bidders. This was the lowest bid. This is a new contractor for us. It came in with very high references. Came in $150,000 less than the nearest competing bid, and we recommend approval of this, sir.
Thank you, council. Any questions?
No question.
No, I'm fine.
The payment term, okay, so if the material shows up in April, my question is, that's when this contract would really be, other than maybe some preliminary. As far as cash flow, it's a lot of money, but DEP and ARPA, great. And it's related to a citizen fully supported issue. So it's a no-brainer. I think we do it, but we have to pay out of our general fund. At what point in the payment terms, how does the cash flow? Is this the progress payments? And the reason I ask is the FDEP grant will flow back in, but ARPA money is already there. So it's really just the
ARPA money's there.
Okay, so we would only wait for that
We would front
portion.
we're fronting the FDEP money, if that's what you mean, yes.
Do we know the time that we have to pay out that amount and when it would come back?
I don't have that information. Do you have it?
Does it happen in the same calendar year?
No, but Jeff, I think what the mayor's asking too is that in this case, is the money fronted before the city pays for the grant, or does it happen along the way with construction? ARPA, of course, is there. I could write a check tomorrow if we start it. But in terms of, he's saying as far as the grant goes, how would that be? How would that flow? Okay. So we could build a DEP, Mayor, along the way.
So the way it's structured, item 8 on page 3 of the contract, is that they're going to pay progress payments. And so we'll be paying as the labor is being fulfilled to build this or administer the project, and then we're Is it 2 months, 3 months, a year before FDEP? Is it, so when we build the FDEP, my question is, how long does it take for them to reimburse or to send the grant? Oh, wow. That's great. Thank you.
So this virtually doesn't cost the city anything.
That's
I mean,
fantastic.
because of grant and ARPA.
I didn't know if it was a year,
Yeah.
or one of those things.
Right,
you
and there
deal-
are different types of grants we get, where you get you do the work, you pay it, and then you get the money after the fact within 30, 60, 90 days. This isn't such like Dave's or Jeff's saying, you get it, we'll bill them, and they're saying 30 days on this one. That's fantastic. It doesn't
Thank
get
you.
any better than that.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, that was my only question. Mayor Pro Tem Kellum, any?
No, I just don't think we should pay the 5 cents.
Yeah. It was awkward reading it. The
Oh, in 5 cents.
yeah, the 5. Yes, could you push back a little there? I think we're good to go. Councilmember Jackson?
I have one question in regards to when payment is made and when we get put on the schedule for the contractor. With the equipment coming in April, that is tapping on the door of our rainy season. So are we able to get on their project schedule when we make a down payment and execute the contract? Is that when they will put us on the schedule?
Jeff, what do you see for construction timing as far as getting an early start on this?
Thank you. Okay, great, thank you. I wasn't sure about that, so that was the one question I had. Thank you, Jeff.
That's our city manager, just the significance of April.
Yes.
And pushing back is really important. We got lucky this year.
I'm also grateful that staff thought to order that pump when we did, because if we waited, it would have been another 9 months from then.
I'm excited to see it go into effect, and hopefully we don't have more rain. Never use it, that's okay too, but we know that those acute episodes, there's 2 or 3, the October one, but the June, those significant dates. Yes.
And vendor services are highly irregular right now, sometimes getting your dates hammered down. That's why I had a concern.
Thank you.
And I wasn't involved in that before, so I would not have known that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, well, looking at that, we'll look for a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the purchase of Centroid Diversified.
I'll second.
Okay, got a motion to approve by Councilmember Willis and a second by Councilmember Davis. Any further questions, discussion, council? Mayor Pro Tem?
No, I'm good. I'm ready to.
Thank you for
Pass the
confirming.
motion.
Yes. City Clerk?
Councilmember Davis? 4. Councilmember Jackson?
4.
Mayor Pro Tem Kellum?
4.
Mayor Morrison?
4.
Councilmember Willis?
4.
Motion passes 5-0. Thank you all. Not too far, same company, item 13, and the final item tonight is the proposal for Centroid Diversified LLC in the amount of $402,311.00 for construction of the Veterans Memorial Park Enhanced Bioswale, and authorize the city manager to execute construction agreement for the same. So same company, city manager?
Yes, sir. This company has a lot of promise. They are coming in with very competitive bids, the lowest in both of these cases. It's nice to see a construction company do that these days. We're not used to that. So I think they're hungry for this business, but again, they're highly qualified and they checked out very well on all of the references. So this is for the Veterans Memorial Park Bioswale project. That's a project that City Council has supported with a National Science Foundation grant application, which was approved for up to $1 million. That, of course, is subject to how much are we actually spending. We're not spending $1 million. This is $402,311 to this company. The council may recall that Veterans Memorial Park was master planned by Kimley Horn through several city workshops, and a design was chosen, and the bid was awarded to Joe Bear, a little bit higher than I think we wanted to pay, a little bit of sticker shock there, but we went along with that. But we carved out of it this bioswale project because we are aware of the grant opportunity from the National Science Fund, the Science Institute. So this was going along at the same time as the Joe Bear thing was going along, two separate contractors working on this one project, funded in different ways. This is the one that's grant funded, and it's a very cool project that will be replicable throughout the city, and National Science Foundation actually wants to use this as a model to be replicated in other cities throughout the nation. Sir.
Thank you very much. I could not be more excited. This was fun because the community came together and this grant was brought to our attention. We had all the right people in the right seats to make this happen. Feel a bit of luck and favor, but we did the work, recording, taking the documentation, the journalistic approach as an aggregate city of the photos and the citizen input on our issue, and this is really going to help promote not only what we're doing, but positively impact an area that we know is low, and it's beautiful. I'm looking at the renderings. If y'all haven't, if we're going from the first one all the way through, yes, maybe just scrolling through those. The swales there and the berms. The existing oaks, my one question, as far as the landscaping, is there going to be any issues with the trees there or for removal?
Tim, is there any trees are there any trees scheduled for removal as part of this project?
There is one in the middle of the swale closest to the library. It is not a specimen, it's actually very small. That is the only tree that we're going to impede on.
And that is going to be mitigated in accordance with our code and additional landscaping put in as well?
Absolutely. We're doing a lot of forward-friendly landscaping with this also.
They really need to be at the podium.
Yes, natural pollinators, all that. So one tree, what type is it an oak?
It's a scrub oak.
Okay, but not specimen with, that's really good. Those big, some of the oldest oaks on that property.
There's some big ones out
And
there.
their roots and canopies. So this is what low-impact development's all about, is working with the existing landscape and trying to mimic what's natural. I think this is great. I want to hear if council has any concerns. I certainly think $1 million grant is really awesome. Thank you
Mr.
for
Mayor?
all your hard work. Yes, Mayor Pro Tem Kellum.
I could not hear what Tim said. What was the answer for the trees?
He said that one tree, a little scrub oak, I think the best of his knowledge, not specimen, he didn't, is the only one that they're aware of today, or planned to be removed. Is that right, Tim? He's coming up.
You're on.
Hello? Okay. Hey, Mickey, good evening. So there is a small tree that we're going to be moving. It's actually in the middle of the swale.
closest to the library. It is not of a specimen, but we are going to mitigate anyways, even though it's not a specimen.
Thank you, Tim. That's good news.
Anyone else have any questions for Tim? Thank you for working on this project. This is an exciting, are you excited about it?
You have no idea.
Yes.
This
is
was
all-
actually about 2 years ago. I had stuck this in our star report for the DEP, and it was a wish list item. And I was thinking, I'll put 25,000, 50,000 towards it. Then Zach and Lexi and them said, hey, we're going for the second phase grant.
Mhm.
He said, do you have any projects that you can think of? And immediately I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, look, we're having a problem in the Center Street Basin. Let's try to get more water out of that basin. We have a huge area here that is underutilized for stormwater. And next to the library, that's on our property, I never see water sitting in this whole area. I'm like, it percolates beautifully. Let's do something with it. And like Todd was saying, it was really cool that both these projects were happening at the same time, because when we went to do value engineering with Joe Bear to bring the price down, we were able to implement some of the stuff that we removed from that and got it with a grant. So the grant paid for it, which is amazing. So yeah, I'm really excited about this project.
I can't wait to see it. City manager shared that with me.
All that credit goes to Tim's department. Good job.
Thank you, Tim, Jeff, all hands. It's going to be fun to see. And the timing?
This actually is very time sensitive because Stetson University and a few others want to get their data tools in there to start recording. Like Todd said, they're wanting to kind of use this as an example throughout the state of Florida of what to do or not to do with a bioswale. So it'll go through testing phases of water, the plant life, what's living, what's not living, what we should use and should not use. So I think I have on here a very strict timeline of 210 days, if I'm not mistaken. We have within a year, I believe, to get everything done, but that was as of October the 1st, 2023. So we will be done from that day. We will be done 210 days after that day. I'm not sure what the date is of that, but that will give them time to put their tools in there that they need to get all the data that they're looking for.
They're looking for a case study.
Yes.
And that's why they're giving the grant money.
October 21st, 2023. What was
October the 1st, 2023, I believe was the opening.
210 days after that?
I believe
you have
so.
to meet certain criteria for the grant and get
Yeah.
things substantially completed, or hopefully.
April sometime.
Yeah.
Okay, so that would be prior to hopefully rainy season, and yes, I think we're good to go. And Mayor Pro Tem Kellum, did you see that nice even change of 0 cents? Does that satisfy your hopes?
Yes, thank you.
I was happy to read that. Good job, way to push back.
And Mr. Mayor, I would just like to thank Tim and the staff. They've done an excellent job, and it's going to be such a great improvement to Veterans Park and to our many veterans we have in the city of Cape Canaveral. And I'm really looking forward to this coming to fruition. So thank you.
Well, thank you. I have no further comments, council? No. Seeing none, looking for a motion to approve. Thank you all.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Got a motion to approve by Councilmember Willis, a second by Councilmember Davis. Further discussion, questions? Mayor Pro Tem, final confirmation? You're good?
I'm good, thank you.
City Clerk?
Councilmember Davis?
4.
Councilmember Jackson?
4.
Mayor Pro Tem Kellum?
4.
Mayor Morrison?
4.
Councilmember Willis?
4.
Okay. Item passes 5-0. That concludes all the items for action and the last item in this regular meeting. We are now on to the reports. It is 8:16 p.m. Doing good on time. This is sort of time, anything that we want to share? Mayor Pro Tem Kellum?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. I would just like to extend a happy Thanksgiving to staff and crew and council, and thank you for all our blessings we have in our city, and everyone have a nice Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Anyone like to?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, on December 4th, we're doing a Coffee with a Cop at Manatee Sanctuary Park from 9 to 10 a.m. So we posted that on social media and flyers. And then on December 7th, hosting a fraud, scams, identity theft presentation made by the Sheriff's Department. And it'll also be a community food drive like we had last year. So that'll be at the C5 on December 7th from 6 to 8 p.m. So if everybody could help get people out and bring food. So we will be donating all that food to the local food bank.
December 4th, the Coffee with a Cop, 10 a.m.?
9 a.m.
Sorry, 9 a.m., got it. And on December the 7th?
December 7th, 6 to 8 p.m. at C5.
I had a chance to, I think, go to that last year for your
yes.
talk. That was wonderful. Thank you for you and your wives and all the support that came around that. I will certainly help get the word out for both of those. And there's a long list of other city events happening around it. So, Councilmember Davis or Jackson, any reports?
No, I'm fine. No, but I wanted to thank the staff and our city manager and everyone that spent time with me up to my first night tonight. It really helped me, and I'm very appreciative. It helped me go through the agenda with some comprehension. And I look forward to meeting with Dave's group next week, several more. But it really made a huge difference with the time that you took and spent with me, and I look forward to serving the council.
Thank you. I am looking forward to the rest of the year. I just want to, again, congratulate both of y'all and this whole council as we move forward. We could not do it without y'all, city staff. Very thankful for every one of you who helped make these things a reality. So yes, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. And please go online for those of you listening at home and look at all the city events and stay tuned that are popping up. I spoke with Lisa, I think the Giving Tree on November 27th or shortly after. Thank you. And so with that, that's all the reports I have. Look forward to spending the next few days with Thanksgiving and the rest of the year. City Manager, any reports?
Coffee with the City Manager will not be held this Friday because it is a holiday. It's normally the Friday after a council meeting. Instead, it's going to be held on December 8th, which is a Friday, also at Manatee Sanctuary Park, and it will cover this council meeting and what we think will be on the December council meeting, and that will be the last Coffee with the City Manager for the year. We'll resume again in January.
Thank you for continuing to do that.
My pleasure, sir.
City Attorney, any reports?
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Have a blessed day.
You too. City Clerk,
Happy Thanksgiving.
Finance Director.
The annual audit, James Moore will be here next week. Merry Christmas, right? So they'll be here all next week. They'll be on the second floor, and we'll get to knock the annual audit. And other than that, happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Thank you. Brevard County Sheriff's Department, any reports? Good. Fire. Thank you all. And with that, council, y'all ready to adjourn? All right. Meeting adjourned.